Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you what I feel like is one of the better versions of Katsu that you can play now. Kind of do like a miniature deck tech, talk about my thoughts on where the deck is now without Bonds of Ancestry and without Art of War, and just give my general thoughts. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you're a long-staying supporter, thank you so much as always. We'll get right into the video. Check out the Discord, all that good stuff. So before I get into this deck tech, the one thing I want to say, and this might upset people, it's fine, is if you're going to give them in the comments and say Katsu's dead, like, don't play the hero, they're bad. Like, the point of this deck isn't for me to say this is playable at a call-in, right? Like, that's not it, not at all. Like, for me right now, if we're speaking strictly competitive, not playing the deck you want to play, like you are truly just trying to pick a deck, I think Katsu is good enough for armories. And personally, I think Katsu is good enough for small pro quests and skirmishes and stuff, like, not skirmishes, pro quests and RTNs, depending on where you're at. I would not competitively take Katsu above that unless you enjoy the hero. Like me, I will gladly take Katsu to a Battlehardened. I took Katsu to the Calling Dallas in the Lexi and Jeremiah era when he wasn't quite as bad as he is here, but it also, that was pre-bonds, and that was a time where no one expected Katsu to even be relevant, and made day 2 and did fine. So, like, you can play the hero you want to play, right? And that's what I encourage people here that are listening to this. If you're here because you're like, I want to play Katsu, what is the best version of Katsu now? Hopefully this video can help you, or at least give you an option to try. If you're here just to say, like, Katsu's dead, don't play him, like, you can go to a different channel. Like, we're not here for those vibes. We're here for the good vibes. So with that being said, we'll get into this and have some fun with it. So for me, my version of Katsu, funny enough, did not change that much. It really didn't. I didn't like Art of War. Anyone who's watched one of my videos knows that. I don't play Art of War in Katsu. I've never played Art of War in Katsu. I've tried it and I hate it. Just wasn't my style of play. I enjoy Razor Reflex so much. Also, I love Mask Momentum. If I'm playing Katsu without this card, I don't really want to play Katsu. That's the way I looked at it, right? It embodied everything I wanted to play about the hero. And again, that's more of a personal opinion than obviously a competitive opinion, but it's still my opinion, right? So with that being said, when it comes to the equipment suite, all of these are pretty standard, right, that you're seeing. We do have Tunic and Heart and Cross Strap in here, and I don't have a sideboard guide. I'll make one eventually once we see how the meta shapes up. But Heart and Cross Strap's obviously for those games where you don't think it's going to go longer than 3 or 4 turns. If you're playing like a Dash IO, even KO, let's try to think of the other. Even now, still Zen, I would play Heart and Cross Strap. If you're playing on most other matchups, it's probably going to be Tunic. Breaking Scales is still in there. Kodachis are still in there. The 2 biggest pieces that change is this deck does not have pouncing links. This is completely a Mask of Momentum deck. So let me talk about this for a second. The whole point of this deck, the core concept, the macro game plan, right, is to make this card annoying as humanly possible. We want to get incremental value on our opponent by forcing them to block hopefully twice a turn to prevent us from drawing a card, or to at least give them that decision if they want us to draw. Utilizing our Kodachis to the best we can, utilizing even bigger than that really well, and we'll talk about that here in a second, and utilizing Mask Momentum to just force those awkward blocks, force consistent blocks, and that's how we gain our value back, since we're not as fast of an aggro deck as a Dash IO or even a Zen. Where we make up for that is we're saying, okay, they just took a whole lot of card draw out of the game. Well, guess what? If you don't interact with me, I'm going to get card draw every turn, right? And that's what we're trying to do. It's not foolproof, but this is the original way Katsu is played, and it's the way I prefer to play it. The other big change is Snapdragon Scalers. I think there's no point in running Breeze Rider Boots anymore unless you really want the 1 block, or you're still trying to run like the Ancestral Harmony build, maybe with like 6 Flusters, 3 Spinning Wheel Kicks. You know, you're really just trying to like 300 wins, you're really trying to make the most of your combo, which you can do. I would just run Snapdragon Scalers. It's just better. So that's the equipment. The sideboard, I'm still running. I have AB2 with Spell Void in here because simply because we still have 2 Kanos that I know are probably still going to play Kano at a tempo level just to play them. So until I see where the meta goes, I'm keeping these in. But these are definitely flex slots. You easily could take out Spellfray Gloves and Arcane Lantern and sub them for 2 other choices. But also with Rosetta coming up, I think this might end up still being a thing. And then other sideboard piece of equipment is Van Brace of Determination. I think this is very good into Enigma. I keep this into Enigma because you might not always can guarantee that on hit with breaking skills, but you can give consistent value against her spectral shields and smaller wards. So that's my equipment. So that's the equipment. When it comes to the deck, from a macro level, we're really playing around this card. Even bigger than that in this deck is what we want to be using a lot. And we want to abuse it and be able to say, you know, we want to be able to gain that Quicken token and then use cards that normally don't have Go Again but have significant on-hit effects and give them, or significant value, and give them Go Again with even bigger than that, right? So the biggest culprits that we're wanting to try to abuse are cards like Snatch and cards like Take the Tempo. Take the Tempo says when Take the Tempo hits, if you've hit 3 or more times this combat chain, banish the top card of your deck. If it's an attack action card, you may play it until the end of your next turn. So this can give us some good value, and when you combine these with stuff like Razor Reflex, you can really punish your opponent, right? If they take the first 2 Kodachis, you play even bigger than that in the reaction step of the second Kodachi, draw into like a Take the Tempo. Use your 3rd resource on your blue to play Take the Tempo, 5 Go Again, on hit, draw a card from Mask of Momentum, and potentially banish an attack action, basically drawing 2 cards, and then you use Tunic to play Razor Reflex, because they don't really want to block 8 here, right? So now they just took 2 damage from Kodachis, they 2-card blocked your Take the Tempo, and you're still drawing 2 cards potentially, right? So that's obviously a really good play, but that's what we're trying to do. We're also trying to use other subtle like value cards like Enlightened Strike, being able to find this card off of even bigger than that, and then choosing draw a card and being able to draw and basically not go down a card from playing Enlightened Strike is really nice. It also allows us to just do 7 Go Again sometimes, depending on how our hand structure looks, which is really nice. And then other cards like Soulbead Strike, really good because it pairs with Ancestral Empowerment. It's a 0 for 4 potential Go Again, and it's a 3 block, but off of even bigger than that, it just gets automatic Go Again. It's not like our highest priority target, obviously, but it does help. So yeah, that's like the core macro of the deck, is we're using literally this little square right here. Well, without Surgeon Strike, but this little square right here, right, to fullest effect. When it comes to combo cards and like more traditional combo cards, we're still using the Surging line. 6 Surging Strike, 3 Be Like Waters, right, to try to get Surging Strike to come off more. 6 Whelming Gust Waves, 2 McGinshys, and Lord of Wind. We're still running those cards. It's what makes Katsu tick. It's very good. This is a personal thing. I'll get into that in a second. We're also running 100 Winds. And then at blues, we're running Winds of Eternity, obviously. And blue Soulbead Strike to help pair with even bigger than that. And it's a 3-block blue that attacks for 2. And Ancestral Empowerment. Those are all pretty simple, right? The couple things I added in is I added in the leg tap line. The other thing that Katsu kind of needs now is you really need breakpoint attacks. You need to be able to threaten mask with very weird numbers that makes your opponent have to significantly interact with you. So cards like leg tap, comboing into Rising Knee Thrust for 5 Go Again, even playing Blackout Kick at like for 7, right? Like I've had turns where I already had leg tap and Rising Knee Thrust naturally, and they eventually let one of them hit because they don't want to give up their whole hand to block both out. And I go get Blackout Kick, and I just end on Blackout Kick for 7 no Go Again. On hit, give me an arsenal, right? So being able to have that value is really nice. We also have one of Hurricane Technique in here. And the whole point of this deck is to play mid-rangey. You're trying to force good on hits with Mask of Momentum, utilize your Kodachis very well, abuse even bigger than that as much as you can by drawing into these, or hopefully just drawing into your combo line. I've had times like where I had Surging, but I didn't have Whelming, and I was able to do like Kodachi, even bigger than that, find Whelming Gust Wave. Yes, I lose the Quicken off of Surging, but I guaranteed Whelming, and now when one of these hits, hopefully, I can go get McGinshey instead, right? So it allows that combo line to be a little bit even more consistent. So that's where I'm at with that. When it comes to sideboard, I just have a generic sideboard right now because we don't know what the meta is going to look like. Command and Conquer, always a great card. Flick, Flack, and Sink below. You could even add Weakest Link in here. I think would be a really good addition currently right now. I'm trying to think of other ones that might be really good. Reinforce the Line might end up being good, but probably not as much. But yeah, most of the time it's going to be pretty standard for the sideboard. It really just depends on what you're playing into. But yeah, the whole macro purpose of this deck is to abuse even bigger than that. Force mask momentum threats as much as possible, because we are naturally below rate when it comes to KO and DO. Like, it's obvious. So how do we make up with that? We force our opponent to interact with us, because if they don't, then maybe we can start to match their value by the consistent card draw they're giving us, right? And if they don't interact with us, then we can race them a little bit easier. If they do interact with us, well, now we bring them down to our level, right? Being able to do like Kadachi, take the tempo and say, hey, unless you want to give me your armor, if you don't give me 2 cards here, I'm going to have potentially a 6-card hand next turn. So now they just took 2 damage on Kadachi's. You likely block 6 on their turn. So you just block 6 on their turn. You threaten 7 and 2-card draw on their turn, on your turn, and you force 2 cards out of their hand. That's actually not too bad, right? So this is where I'm at currently. I'm not saying this is hands down the best way to play Katsu, but I think unless you're wanting to try to do some crazy turtle build, then this is where I would go. If you want to run a card, if you want to run the new card in like Underwhelming Gust Wave, that would probably end up going where the Soul Bead Strike is. It's just a 0 for 4. Since Soul Bead Strike doesn't have natural go again anyway, it's still a 3-block Underwhelming Gust Wave, and it does pair with Surging Strike. You can give it go again with even bigger than that, all that stuff. So that's where I would put Underwhelming Gust Wave. I call it Underwhelming Gust Wave. That's not what it's called. Second Wind of Gust Wave or whatever. So funny, I just called it that naturally. Yeah, and then we have Rising Aetherish Blue, just to pair with Leg Tap. McGinty, Hurricane Technique. But yeah, this list is not bad. I've been playing this list. I haven't been doing too bad with it. I've been winning games. Obviously, like, it's just small games, like nothing big. Like I said at the beginning of the video, and I implore you, if you made it this far, I would recommend this list at the Armory level, and even with a skilled pilot who knows all the matchups, a ProQuest or a RT level competitively. But likely an Armory level is where Katsu is right now currently. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the deck still. And I implore people to do that. I don't want people to get into the mindset of deck not competitive, deck not fun to play. That's just not the case. And you can really surprise people if you have the right skill with your hero. I mean, look at Mansant before Levia got a lot of upgrades, right? He was arguably playing one of the worst decks in the game, but still would make it to the finals of like some smaller events, right? Some smaller ProQuest level events, because he knew his hero and knew how to play it. So definitely take a page out of that book. Don't give up on stuff. Play what you want to play. Have fun with it. And yeah, hopefully you like this type of content. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to another creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. Let me know what your thoughts are on how to build Katsu. If you have a different type of build that you think would be really cool, any additions that you think might be really worth it, let me know. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.